People don't realize new construction provides that unique opportunity to be able to get their foot in the door. We just want to get people starting to build output equity, build generational wealth, and something that a lot of people feel like is out of reach for them now.
And I think the hard piece of the conversation is your first home is not the forever home, right?
Yes.
And I know that's a hard one.
Welcome to the DFW New Home Podcast, the podcast where a realtor and a builder rep share their insights on the exciting journey of buying and building new construction homes. We know that buying a new home can be daunting, but we're here to make the process more approachable, informative, and enjoyable. In each episode, we'll discuss topics ranging from finding the right builder and location to selecting the right floor plan and finishes. We'll also share tips on navigating the financing process and ensuring that your home is energy efficient. Our goal is to empower you with knowledge and resources to help you make informed decisions about your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or an experienced homeowner, the DFW New Home Podcast is the podcast for you. Join us every week for insights, inspiration, and a little bit of fun on your journey to building your dream home.
Wow, Megan, if that's going to be our introduction, we have a big shoes to fill to live up to. I'm a fan. So you heard Megan give our introduction. That's Megan. I'm Zach. So Megan, tell us a little bit about you, and then I'll share a little bit about me, and we'll make this our start off episode.
And get to know us a little bit. Yeah. So as you heard, my name's Megan. I have been working in the new construction industry for the last decade. Took a little bit of a break in there to do design for real estate investors. So did that for 3 years, came back into the business in 2020, which what a time to come back in.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no kidding.
But I actually grew up in this space. My mom was a realtor. She moved over into new home sales, kind of flipped back and forth a little bit. I was her assistant in high school. So I was like helping with MLS listings. And, I just kind of grew up around this, around real estate, interior design, that sort of thing. So it's kind of a natural fit for me.
Okay. And so you're with which builder right now?
Thank you. I'm with Pacesetter Homes. So I am currently working out in Lavon, the community of Elavon. So we have over 4,000 homes coming to that community.
Yeah,
it's
no kidding.
Big master plan community in Lavon.
Cool. And so Megan's got us covered on the builder side. So my name is Zach. I'm going to be the other half of this podcast. I am a real estate agent. I have been doing this. I got into this right in the middle of 2020. Right in the middle of the chaos, and just decided to jump full in. Been doing real estate full time since April of 2022, and I really spent a ton of my time focused on new construction, new builds, helping people buy and sell, and really build in those new communities. Because I don't think a lot of realtors spend time developing those relationships and really specializing in that space. So that's where I spend a lot of my time, is talking with builders, walking communities, and helping people, get into those spaces and learn why I think, new construction is the best option for a lot of people when it comes to buying here in DFW.
Yeah. So Zach, what made you want to specialize in new construction?
That's a good one. So for me, my wife and I, we've bought three houses. All three of them have been brand new homes. And so we kind of have that experience of, we've bought off the builder's inventory, we bought in another state, and then we did a full build job. And so that was kind of that's been our home buying experience. And as I got into this space, I realized there's not a lot of people that are in that space doing it the service that it deserves, right?
Absolutely.
There are tons of great realtors out there, but I realized that there was a gap in the knowledge base of, like, there's so much new development, especially here in DFW, of somebody that can walk you through, hey, here's what to ask, because it's a very different feeling for me doing new construction than doing resale. So that's kind of part of it. But realistically, the big piece for me, and we'll talk about this probably at some point in a later episode, I like negotiating a deal in a new construction space is so much different than negotiating with a resale. And, I joke with people all the time, is like, I like it because there's no emotion involved, right? Yeah. It's, when you're buying a resale home, there's always the story of, my kids grew up here and we did all these really cool things, and, we need to make this much money. And I'm like, oh, that's all really cool, but I don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that makes me terrible. I don't know. But
No,
like
no,
when it
I'm
comes,
totally with you. And there's some pride there too, where they're like, well, my house should be worth this much
yeah,
because,
exactly.
it's special
Whereas
to you.
like
It's your home.
on
Yeah.
the new side, I go talk to a builder's rep like you, and you're like, oh, it's a number on a spreadsheet. We
Yeah.
can make this make sense. And it's like, I only have the emotions on one side. And so when
Mhm.
you don't have it going both ways, that makes a difference for me. I think that's the biggest thing for me, amongst other things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's probably the big one. And so you said your mom you've been in this industry for a long time. What brought you back from doing interior design to being back with a builder? Because I know you were with a couple other builders before Pacesetter, and now
Mhm.
you're crushing it.
Thank you. Yeah, last year was crazy for a lot of us, with interest rates and
Oh,
just, this industry in general. There's always something going on. But it was my best year of my career so far, and I'm really
come
glad that I
on.
came back. But yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, the decision was primarily a financial one, if I'm being 100% honest.
Okay.
My husband, he works in the live entertainment industry. So in 2020, all
There was
of the
no live entertainment.
that they had booked and the bars and the casinos and all of that, it completely dried up. So his income went to zero, like
Wow.
almost overnight in March of 2020. So I love design, but at that time, I didn't really have lead generation skills. When you work
Mm,
for a builder, people come to you. You don't
yeah.
have to go out and market and prospect and find people. And that was just not a skill set I had. And it's not one that I really appreciated how difficult it would be until I
Mhm.
was doing it. So I did well with the clients that I did have as a designer,
Mhm.
and I got a lot of repeat business that way, but I struggled to find new clients, and I just wasn't making enough money to support our entire household by
Yeah,
myself.
I mean
So
that's a huge switch, right? And then
Mhm.
I think people don't realize how much and I talk to a lot of builder sales reps, and I think the biggest surprise for me for looking in on you guys is
Mhm.
sometimes y'all live a lonely life because you get stuck in a model in one community, and it's like, oh, if nobody's coming in, I don't know what to do. And I'm sure there were probably plenty of days where it's like, okay, guys, come see me, please.
That's actually why I started doing social media.
Yeah.
Like fall of 2022, that's when interest rates went up above 6 and kind of kept going
Mhm.
and going, and there were weeks where I had 1 unit of traffic all week
Oh
for
my
the
gosh.
entire week. 1 person came through.
That's oh my gosh.
So, yeah, I was kind of twiddling my thumbs and like, okay, I know I wasn't good at this whole lead generation thing in the past, but now there's a lot of resources on this to learn how to do social media marketing. I started binging YouTube videos, trying to learn how to do it, jumped in, and here I
Yeah.
am now. So,
And I will say, Megan, you kill it on Instagram. You are always got great stuff going there. Megan does a lot of great stuff on Instagram. I do a lot of great stuff on YouTube. That's kind of where. So if you're looking to find us on other avenues or other platforms, those are the. And I'm sure I think we're going to get Megan on YouTube at some point. And
yes.
I'm working on the Instagram space.
Yes.
But if you're looking for resources there, those are great places to find us, and we'll link them in the show notes for
Absolutely.
anybody that's looking.
And
So
Zach, I just want to compliment you real quick on Instagram as well. Like, I know that's not your main focus, but the amount of consistency and quantity of content that you're putting out, like you
thank
just
you.
really show a peek behind the scenes. You're
Yeah,
constantly trying to get like education out there for people to be like, hey, this is what new construction is like. And yeah, you're very, very consistent with that.
I appreciate that. That's kind of been my goal. Like with everybody builds their business differently, right? And so
Mhm.
for me, it's my goal is always I want to come from a place of education, value, and advocacy, right? So I'm always going to say, hey, if I can teach, if I can give you, that comes out of my background. If like, hey, if I can give you the resources, I hope you go do this without me. I want to be involved, but if I'll give you everything I got because I believe so much in people being able to buy homes.
Mhm.
And I think that's the heartbeat for me is I want to come from a place of service and a place of value. So many people I think in this industry we get a bad rap of like, oh, they just want my money, or oh, they don't actually care about me. And there, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people that are like that. But that was going to be my like, I'm not going to be that. And so that again, and doing the podcast and doing all of this is like, hey, we want to just be a resource for you guys to help you make the best decisions possible and probably throw in a few nuggets of fun along the way.
Yeah. I think that's why you and I connected so well from the start, is because we both share that passion.
For sure.
And it's really great to just vibe off with somebody that has that same core. Like for me personally, especially like our generation, it's so hard for them to get their foot in the door now.
Oh,
Home
yeah.
prices and mortgage rates, like it's more unaffordable than ever.
Yeah.
And people don't realize new construction provides that unique opportunity to be able to get their foot in the door.
Yes.
And I know that's something you talk all the time about. It's something I talk all the time about.
Yes.
We just want to get people starting to build equity, build generational wealth, and something that a lot of people feel like is out of reach for them now. And
well, and I think the hard piece of the conversation is your first home is not the forever home, right?
yes,
And I know that's a hard one. You know, as a millennial, it's like, oh, I want the thing right now, right as it's supposed to be. And you have to have perspective on that of like, hey, it's going to take time to build that up. So I don't know that we were planning on this, but I want to ask you this, and then I'll talk about my side. Tell me about the first home that you and your husband bought, and work us through that. How many? I told you we've done 3. We're at 3 on our house purchase, and where are y'all?
So we are also on number 3. At some point, like maybe even on this one, we can flash some pictures of the original listing of my first house. It was under 1,500 square feet, built in the 70s, complete fixer-upper. We redid it from top to bottom with a lot of DIY. We bought in 2015.
Okay.
So it was a good time to buy.
Yeah.
If I told you how much it was, you would be very sad. That homes don't cost that.
Everybody would be very sad because we'd all want to be able to find that, and it doesn't exist anymore.
We can't go back in time. But yeah, we put a lot of sweat equity into that house. I mean, it was like burnt orange, mustard yellow, dirty, laminate countertops. Yeah, like sunken living room, which is kind of cool, but
I would be a fan of the sunken living room coming back. Like, I think that's a trend that should come back around in design.
Yeah, this one wasn't as cool as some of them that I've seen. But yeah, it was a fixer-upper. And
how long did y'all live in that house?
2 years.
Okay. And I'm sure, and then you sold it and made money on it?
Oh, yeah.
And then bought, what'd you buy from there?
So we actually moved into an RV.
Ooh.
For a little bit. We were going to travel the country and all that. We bought a used.
How long did that last?
Yeah, it was not a smart financial decision. We bought a 2005 open road fifth wheel.
Oh, okay.
And parked it by the lake to start with, and like, oh, gorgeous. The first rain I had 12 bowls out catching drips. Yeah, so we were like, you know what? Let's not do this. We were actually in an apartment for a little while we kind of were figuring out what we wanted to do. Okay. And then when I came back to new home sales, I was like, you know what? I really like my builder's quality. This was at the height of all the pandemic craziness with the housing market. Yeah. People were trying. A realtor told me that it took 13 offers for her to finally get a home for her son and daughter-in-law.
Oh, I believe that. I remember what we went through in 20 and 21. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not want to be a part of that. That emotional roller coaster. I had the opportunity to build a home up here in Anna. So we built, and I'm so glad we did. I love it here. I love Anna. I love my new home. And yeah, this is home number 2 for us personally. We also bought a rent house as well in that period.
Okay. Very cool. We so I'll tell you ours. So our first house we bought in 2017. We were living in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. Was working out of state, was not doing real estate, was doing some other things. And we bought a 3-story connected on either side townhome condo style. Because the Phoenix real estate market in 2017 was going stupid. Like pre-pandemic was already going crazy. So that was what we could afford. We actually bought it brand new. We bought it off of builder's inventory. We looked at like 3 houses, and I was like, this is what I can afford. And my realtor was like, yep. And I was like, this is terrible. I hate all of this. So we bought it's just me and my wife. So we bought this 3-story brand new, like I said, condo, townhome, whatever you want to call it. The garage was on the first floor, living was on the second floor, and all of our bedrooms were on the third floor. It was like 1,400 square feet. And I hated those stairs within 6 weeks of moving in. It's like groceries is the worst.
Yeah.
We lived in that house for a little bit, and then we actually moved back to Texas. Sold that house probably 18 months later. One of my biggest regrets is selling that house. Like if I could go back to
Same.
2018 and be like, hey, dummy, don't sell the house. I would say to myself, hey, dummy, don't sell the house, because it, has doubled in value. If I could have figured out, Airbnb or renters, but at the time we were moving back to Texas, we needed the money. We didn't know what we were going to do. So we sold it. We made a little bit of money, but still should have held on to it. And then did the full build process with a builder that I will not name, because I don't believe in their quality. But we did it. We lived in that house through a couple years. We lived in that house, and then like everybody else, COVID hit, and we were driving around bored, and a new neighborhood had popped up, and we were like, my wife was like, "Hey, let's go check it out." I was like, "Sure, let's go check it out." And we walked in a model home, and she's like, "You like that house?" I was like, "Yeah, you like that house?" And I left it alone. And then a couple days later, she was like, "So are we building?" And I was like, "Sure. I guess I don't know." And so that was kind of our story. And then moved into this house. We built out here in Royce City. We love it. And then kept the second. We did the smart thing. Kept the second house as a rental, and then turned that into a rental property. And it just, I've loved being part of new construction ever since.
Yeah. When I think about like our first mortgage was $1,100 a month.
Oh, yeah.
We could be cash flowing like $1,000 to $2,000 easy.
Our first mortgage was $997 in a state with no property taxes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it like when I think back about that, and I was like, yeah, you sold that, you dummy.
And I know right now, like it might come off like, well, yeah, of course you guys bought houses because market conditions were better and your mortgage was so much cheaper. But like, I don't know about you, I don't see it getting easier as time goes on.
I wish I could tell you it was going to get easier, but I don't think it's going to. Like, I just know with the growth rate happening in DFW, it's going to, like, builders can't. I know y'all can't keep up.
Nope.
Like, not just Pacesetter the builder, but every builder, like all the ones that I talk to, it's like, yeah, we need to start more houses, because there are so many people moving to DFW. And again, there's the market here is doing what it's doing. It's not going to get easier. We're not, like, I don't have a crystal ball. It's not, I don't think it's going to fall. I think if it did, we all have way worse problems.
Yeah, agreed. I went to the big event yesterday, and they had Kate from Keeping Current Matters come out and do a talk with us. And she said 2024 should be, they're calling it the year of the fives. And same thing that you just said, they don't have a crystal ball, but they have experts look at all this data released from multiple different sources, average it all together, and that gives you a possible picture of what this next year is going to look like.
Yeah.
And
so give me the good news. What is it?
So the year of fives is number one, that they believe that interest rates will start with a 5 at some point this year.
That might be 5.99, but starts with a 5.
It might be, but starts with a 5. They also said that we should see 5.5 million home sales in the country for this year.
I believe that.
Which we had something like 4 million in 2024 or 2023, sorry. And that we should see about 5% appreciation in home values.
For the nation or for DFW?
In the nation. DFW is always a little bit ahead of the nation, which,
DFW, I think for the last year was averaging right at 4, and most new construction was averaging right at 6, at least from what I've looked at. In most of the places that are growing, people were seeing about a 6% appreciation year over year in those new construction.
That's the thing to consider is if you purchase a new construction home in a new developing area, then you have a greater chance to earn appreciation faster typically than you do when you are buying in an already established area.
And the trade-off that you make with that, and I have this conversation a lot with clients, is like you're going to drive a little bit further for grocery stores. You're going to drive a little further for restaurants. You're going to have to, it's going to be a little bit inconvenient,
Yeah.
but are you willing to trade the convenience side to get a good deal? Because
Yep.
so for example, I mean, so you're out in Lavon, right? And Lavon is growing crazily. The same house with you guys that would price out, like what, in the mid fours. So like if I called one of your floor plans on y'all's like, let's talk about your Addison too. And so for those of you that aren't familiar with the Pacesetter catalog, this is a 4-bedroom house, right? 3 bathroom study, single story. It's like 2,200 square feet. Game room,
include with the game room,
24, and that would price out what with you guys? Probably mid fours. Okay, so that same house was same exact floor plan layout. I was looking at it with a client up to the north in Salina, and it was a mid 5 price point. Same exact home, similar community. So if you want the good deals, you're going to have to get a little bit further out on the outskirts and let the development come to you.
Yeah, that's where we were at as well. So like, yes, I'm working out in Lavon. I currently live up in Anna personally.
Yep.
We lived in Addison before this. So we were close to all of the fun, hip stuff. And honestly, I'm a little bit of an introvert. I know it may not seem like it, but I'm a homebody. And I was really excited when we first moved to Addison, like, oh, it's so exciting. And it didn't help that we moved there right before COVID. So nothing was open anyways, but even after the restrictions let up, I just found I wasn't going out and doing stuff that often. And it was well worth it to me to be able to buy a bigger, nicer, better house than anything I would have been able to afford closer into town.
Agreed. It's funny, we're millennials, right? Both of us are. And I joke with my wife all the time. I'm like, we skipped I never had the desire to live in the city center. I was like, I want to be a suburbanite as quick as possible. I don't know. Yeah, we're the same ways. Like, we're homebodies. We'll drive to go to a restaurant, or we're big hockey people, so we'll drive to Dallas to go to Stars games. Other than that, I'm good out in the sticks, or it's Roy City. It's not out in the sticks. It's we're close enough to civilization, but the same kind of thing.
In the suburbs.
I grew up in Mesquite.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because you grew up here in DFW, right? You were on the other side.
Yeah. So we moved around a little bit, realtor parent. But spent most of my early days in the Mid-Cities area in Hearst.
Okay.
Then we moved to Keller. So I went to high school in Keller.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like I have this theory that if you grow up in the suburbs, you're just more comfortable in the suburbs and you end up staying there.
100%. Like I said, there was never a desire. We have some friends that lease an apartment downtown, and when he told me what that lease was, I was like, bro, that's more than my mortgage. And I just couldn't bring myself to want. I mean, to each their own, right?
Do you have a garage? Do you have a yard for your dogs?
No, none of those things. None of those things.
Yeah.
And I was like, like I said, to each their own. Just, it's definitely not for me. I am a fan of let's live on the outskirts, but it's funny because what you would call the outskirts is becoming more and more suburbanized as more and more growth happens. I mean, nobody would have thought Lavon 5 years ago would be nearly what y'all have now.
Yeah. The population of Lavon right now is about 5,000. And like I said, this new development, Lavon, it's going to have over 4,000 homes. So we're going to more than double the population of Lavon by the time this community is built out.
Oh my gosh. And y'all got some really cool products out there. You've got a really great community. I'm sure we're going to do an episode at some point and just kind of talk about y'all's community, all the cool stuff that goes on out there, because I'm a huge fan of you guys. I will tell you, it's interesting. Megan works for Pacesetter, built a Pacesetter home. I am a realtor. I built a Pacesetter home. So they're one of, like, when I look at builders, they're one of my builders that I love to recommend. And I love to work with. And that's a testament, I would say, to builders, is when your salespeople are buying your product. That was weird. When your salespeople are buying your product, it says something about the product that you're selling.
Yeah. I personally would not want to sell a product that I would not be happy to live in myself.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't want to try and push something on somebody that I do not believe in the quality of.
And that's what I'll tell you, like, straightforward as a realtor, I'm always going to let you make your decisions, but I'm going to be honest with you and tell you, hey, we might not want to look at this builder, and here's, do your research. That's what I would tell everybody is like, ask questions, do your research, and no builder is ever going to be perfect. Like you're always going to have things that come up, problems, it's not if, it's when. And I always tell people we care about how they respond to those problems.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is actually a really good segue into what I believe is going to be our next show, right?
Yeah.
Which is like red flags and green flags when you're out hunting for new homes.
Yes. So before we wrap up this one, I want to do two things. I want to give a quick tip, and then I want to get your opinion on something. Okay.
Yep.
So I have my opinion, and so here's my question: do you need a realtor when buying new construction?
So I think this could honestly be a podcast all on its own.
Oh, yeah.
But just to answer your quick question, there's a short answer and a long answer. So the short answer is technically no.
Mm-mm.
Technically, you don't. You can just go visit a model home and walk in, and if you like the salesperson and you like what you see and you find something you like, you can go under contract without a realtor. In new home construction, and this is good education for realtors who are unfamiliar with new construction and want to work in this space more, the builder rep is the one who does the contract, who schedules the closings, who schedules the builder meetings. So most of the admin in the build process is on the builder rep. However, the builder rep represents, like the name says, represents the builder.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have a legal or fiduciary duty to represent your best interests.
Right.
So that's where a realtor comes in. And maybe Zach, you want to talk a little bit more about that and why you might want to use a realtor to purchase a new construction home.
Here's the thing for me is it's like, we want people to get the best for them, right? And you having representation with somebody that is working on your behalf. And again, I see this as it's a team effort. It's me, it's the builder's rep, it's the lender. There's so many people that are going to work through this to get you your home. I'm just one more player on that team to help make you successful. And so I want you to have as many tools as you can to get the thing that you want to get. The other side of that is I know a lot of builder communities, it's highly volatile. And so a lot of builder reps either move communities very quickly or they change builders, or to be candid, they get fired for one reason or another. And what you don't want, or same thing with a builder, and what you don't want is getting, 3/4 of the way through the process and then having a builder's rep get changed on you, and they're trying to play catch up, and you have nobody else that's been involved in that transaction from the beginning that can say, hey, this is what we agreed to. This is what we talked about. Here's where we're at. I've had that happen before. We had a sales rep get fired a week before closing on a deal. And it's like, hey, we need to pick some things up and carry those things. And like I said, the benefit is, you're not going to get a deal because you don't have a realtor. And any builder that tells you that, you need to run as fast as you possibly can away from them, because that is a major red flag. I am paid by the builder out of a totally separate budget from what that house is set up in. And you're not going to get that money just because you show up without representation. So please take representation, take your own representation, have them ask questions, and make sure you have somebody that knows what they're doing in that space. Like I said, that will probably be a whole nother episode, but that's just the tidbit for today. I want to end on something fun because Megan has a design background. I do not. And it's the first part of the year when we're recording this episode. And so at the beginning of the year, everybody likes to put out their color for the year, right? And so what I've got is I'm going to show Megan. So Pantone, who's like a big design community, Sherwin-Williams, who's paint, and Behr, who's paint. I want to show you their predicted 2024 colors of the year and get your reaction and tell me maybe what you think, maybe how we should use these in our homes. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, let's start with Pantone.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a warning. Theirs is probably the most bold color choice of the year. So can you see that?
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so Pantone's color of the year is Embrace the Warmth, and it is. They're calling it Peach Fuzz.
Nice. Okay, so first thoughts. Number one, embrace the warmth. Love it.
Yep.
Um, I'm tired of the cold. I'm
Oh,
tired.
come on. Come
I'm
on.
okay. So let me preface this by saying design trends, nothing is truly timeless. Everything
Nope.
comes and goes. If you love your home and you're happy with the design in your home, awesome. I'm not here to tell you that you need to change anything. But me personally, as somebody who gets excited by design and who is in this world a lot, I'm just kind of bored with the gray and the white and the blue.
Yep.
And like, I want warmth.
Okay.
And that's something that a lot of designers are saying, like, yes, this is the year of warm tones for
Yeah.
sure.
So for those of y'all that might just be listening to the audio, peach fuzz is exactly what you would think it would be. It's like I'm going to call it orange. I mean, it is. It's like
It's like a soft coral.
yeah, like a soft coral. That's a good way to put it. Soft coral. It's, like I said,
You know
some
what
of
it
the,
reminds me of? And this is funny. This launches into a whole nother conversation about trend cycles, so we can save that for another time. But like normally, trend cycles run in about 20-year
yep.
spans. Because of things like TikTok and social media, we're seeing that 20-year trend cycle kind of break down. And honestly, right now, it's a bit more like a 10 to 30-year trend cycle
Uh-huh.
where people are just kind of picking and choosing their favorites from within the last 10 to 30 years.
Yep.
And this color specifically reminds me a lot of like 2012,
Ooh.
which was the year of mint and coral. If you're
And the chevron pattern, right?
Yes,
Everybody had chevron.
the statement necklaces, the sock buns, the colored jeans, like if the peplum tops. If you were around in this time,
Yep.
this color reminds me of that. So I kind of like the nostalgia. I like the boldness. I like the warmth.
Would you paint a wall in, like, obviously
Mhm.
you're not doing this, but like would you paint an accent wall this color?
So I'm a little bit more of a neutrals and moody colored girly myself.
Okay.
I do love seeing designs like this in other people's homes, though.
Okay.
I love the boldness. Like, I might even incorporate this into something like color drenching, like I have in my
Ooh,
office, where my trim and my wall is all the same color. So,
definitely not kitchen cabinets though.
no, not kitchen cabinets, but I think it would be really fun if you had like a special accent wall or something like that, or paneling, and it was all
Yeah.
colored in this color. It could make something that's normally more traditional feel more updated and modern and fun. So
Okay.
I do like
So
the
so
color.
that's Pantone. It's 13-1023 Peach Fuzz. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna save my favorite for last, and
Okay.
we're gonna do Sherwin-Williams, and it's a little bit more muted. It's so ever transcending to total tranquility. We are introducing their color of the year. It is Upward. So this
Upward.
is kind of a bluish sky,
Oh.
a hint of silver lining, a blissful blue found when we slow down, take a breath, and allow the mind to clear.
Hmm. So I can understand where they're going with this. There's a lot of hectic craziness going on in today's world, and maybe you
Yeah.
just want to break from that when you come home and have this zen, relaxing vibe going on. It's not my favorite shade. Like I said, I'm kind of over the blues myself,
Yeah.
but it
I'm definitely over the gray. I could get behind the blue. I don't, so like on their website, they show it as a kitchen island wrap. I don't know that I could do that, but I could get behind this color.
yeah, yeah, it's
It's
nice and relaxing.
it pairs well with Snowbound, Drift of Mist, and Gale Force. I just want to know how you get a job naming colors.
Right? You know what my all-time favorite named colors are?
Yeah,
OPI nail polish. They have the best color
I
names.
would have never known that. I've never bought RPI polish in
Oh,
my life.
OPI. Yeah, OPI. Yeah.
OPI, see, I got it wrong.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so Upward is,
Beautiful name.
SW6239. So now we're on to my favorite one. So this is Behr, another paint company, and their color
Ooh,
of the year is Cracked Pepper. So PPU 18-01, and it's kind of
oh,
a black, it's a moody color,
I
a
have
versatile
used this
soft
color
black.
actually.
What'd you say?
I've used this color, this exact
Yeah.
color on an exterior. So when I was doing design for real estate investors, we had like this mid-century modern little one-story brick house in North
Yeah.
Dallas. And yeah, we did this on the brick, painted all the brick this cracked pepper color. It was really cool.
Ooh, okay. So side
I love
note,
it.
how do you feel about the painted ceiling? So if a lot of people, we got a white ceiling, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, we could like paint the ceiling the same color as the accent wall. You a
Yeah,
fan?
I am a fan. Practically, I just like painting over my head.
Yep.
But I do think it creates this like moody encapsulation. It's similar to the color drenching I was talking about, where you paint the walls and the trim all the same color. Actually, if you guys are watching right now, you can see the picture that's up on screen right now with the built-ins. The
Yep.
walls and the built-ins are all the same color. So I'm a fan of this look. I'm a fan of the moodiness. People are kind of bored of the all white
Yep.
look that has been really popular the last few years. So we're
I
definitely
love this with the
smart.
natural looking floor.
Mhm.
That's what does it for me. Like I said, this is of the three, this cracked pepper is probably my favorite
Me
color
too.
of the year.
Yeah, with a light wood and this it's a really soft, like charcoal. It's
Yeah.
very, very pretty.
So those are your colors of the year. So, do with that what you want and how you want to design things.
Yep. Like I said,
Well,
we can do
Megan,
a
this is
whole episode on this another time, sure
I
for sure.
think we should.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the notes. So hey, this is the first, this is our first episode. We're going to do this weekly, and we hope this is a helpful conversation for you to listen to. Megan, you have any final thoughts as we close this one out?
No, I think this went really well. I'm very pleased with how the first episode turned out. We would love to hear your thoughts on how
Yeah.
you think that this valuable to you? Is it too long? Is it too short? Like, give us feedback on this because we really want to create content that's going to serve you,
Yep.
that will help you learn and grow as well. So, thank you.
All right, guys, we will put all of our contact info down below. You can go see Megan in Elevon. You can find her on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. We would love to connect with you and help in your home buying journey. And that is all for us today. So we will see you in our next episode. Bye, guys.